So Love had suggested that I replace these buttons on this polo cardigan with something a little more matchy or feminine. And so I went through, and I thought that was a great idea. So I went through my button stash and found these abalone buttons. And so I'm in the process of replacing them. And I've shared this before, and somebody had shown it to me, or I'd seen it online. And so I thought I would share how I sew in a button, because I think it's a pretty ingenious, and somebody had showed it to me. You know, I'd seen it online, so I just thought I'd share in case you didn't see that in my previous video. So what I've done is I've cut off the button that was already here, and I left a little bit of thread just so I know where the button needs to go. And I have, you know, threaded my needle and have put a little knot in the bottom. And so then, and I actually used wax on this just to strengthen. This is just regular all-purpose thread. But what I'm going to do is just take a little bite out of the top of this fabric and put my needle through it. And then what I tend to do, even though I have a knot in here, I just go ahead and sew through that little bit of a loop just as an extra security measure. And so what I'm going to do is come through the back and, you know, sew through the button. And then what I'm going to do is, instead of going clear from the front to the back, I'm going to just keep my needle essentially on the surface of the garment. That got all messed, got kind of knotted up when I was fiddling with it, but just get that straightened out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just do a series of those. So I'm going to come back up through the buttonhole, back through this buttonhole, and then just run my needle through the front fabric of this of the buttonhole band, of the button band. And this is getting a little bit thick because it's sweater material instead of just a woven fabric, but it's working. So again, instead of going all the way to the back and then through the front, I'm just going to keep it there on the front, and then go through the needle, or through the button again. And then what I'm going to do is, then now that I'm on the back, I'm just going to wrap it a few times around those stitches to form essentially a shank, and then tie it off. And that's sewn on. And so, you know, there's no fabric, there's no stitches really on the inside. That's the leftover from the button that I cut off. So I'll snip this and then go on to the next one. So that's how I sew on a button. And just while I have you here, because this has been helpful for other people, how I make a quilter's knot, which is a nice and neat knot that I use for everything, is thread my needle, take the two tail ends, hold it behind my needle, and then just wrap the thread 3 or 4 times. I pinch that and then sew the needle through those wraps, and it makes a very nice, neat, tiny little knot at the end. So that's what I'll keep on doing, is I'll snip this off and then just do that, you know, sort of keep it on the front of the garment while I sew on the rest of these buttons. All right, just thought I'd share. I appreciate you coming along. Have a great night.